Good morning all. It is the 21st of May 2023. Didn't really get anything accomplished on the car yesterday. Not without trying. I tried and tried and tried to get that last nut off that left side head pipe or exhaust pipe where it connects to the exhaust manifold unsuccessfully because of the tight quarters in there. You need just the right size universal or flex 5/8 socket to get in there, and I didn't have it, so I had to order it online. So it'll be here in a few days. So the car will stay like that for a little while. I can probably work on top. But I decided to do a short little clip to start today because a couple things showed up, which I'm pretty excited about. They both came from the same place, a yard in Minnesota. One of them in this box is my right front passenger window. So it's in real nice condition. That will stay in this box until I get the door, which is coming from a yard in Texas. Hopefully that will be here next week sometime soon. And the other thing I got from this person in Minnesota was a replacement front bumper. As you can see, this one is kind of marred and dented and stuff, and I decided rather than trying to spend money to get it straightened, if that was even possible, I just found a used one that's already in good condition. Hopefully it's in as good a condition as it looked like in the pictures I saw online when I bought it. We'll find out when I unwrap it. That's it for the moment. Okay, here's another update. Today being the 21st of May, 2023. I unwrapped my used bumper that came from Minnesota. The bumper itself doesn't look too bad, but I was extremely disappointed when I realized that they used a cutting torch to cut these brackets from the car instead of unbolting the brackets from the frame, which is not that hard to do. Because what really disappointed me is that I had a conversation with this person that sold it to me, and the brackets were supposed to be included with the bumper. So I'm hoping he's going to give me either a partial refund or find a bracket for me. I really just need the one on the right side because that's the side of the car that was damaged. So anyway, otherwise the bumper doesn't look too bad. Flip it around here. There we go. So there you can see the front of it. Not too bad, pretty straight. The only part I didn't like was this hole here, which isn't supposed to be there, but you know, not the end of the world. So anyway, and so I could get a sense of accomplishment today. I did a little work on my 99 Lincoln. I know that's not part of this story, but I had to have something that I got done that felt like a sense of accomplishment. So I replaced the front brake calipers on this car. I'd had them for 3 months, so definitely time to get that done. I don't want to neglect my main driver too much. So I took care of that. That was a pretty easy job. And then I decided now it's finally time to get back to work on this one. So it's funny how the simplest things can make you feel like you have a sense of accomplishment. All I started with was just taking this rat's nest of plug wires out, and it felt like I did something. Like there's a sense of accomplishment again. So anyway. So now I'm going to start disassembling things from the top half of the engine. Just going to start disconnecting accessories, pulling out the distributor, the fuel pump, water pump, all those things, because I'm going to start breaking it down so I can get to the cylinders, see what it looks inside, get the valve covers off, you know, all that basic stuff. So anyway, I don't remember if I think I already showed you this, but I don't remember. Anyway, this is the new window replacement that came from the same place that the bumper came from. The window's in great shape, no problem with that. And it'll go in that door over there once I get the door shell that's coming from Texas. So anyway, pretty day, so I'm gonna get to work later. Here's a little snippet. I just like to document as I'm going along before I forget. One thing I didn't mention earlier was you've got to have a good supply of storage bags and a marker. When you start taking all these bolts off in small parts, you've got to keep them well organized. I'm sure most people that see this video probably already know that, but I'm just doing this like a diary. One thing I noticed too just now is that the heater core is not even hooked up, which tells me it's probably leaking. Fortunately, the heater core on this car is very easy to get to. It's literally right here under this panel. So unlike most cars, that's one thing that is easy to do on this car, is get the heater core out. So that's something I'm sure I'll have to replace eventually, because I do like having heat in the wintertime. And I suspect the radiator probably needs attention too. And, you know, those are all things that'll come with time. Also wanted to point out that this car came with a cruise control, And it's unusual to see the rubber baffles down here actually intact. I don't know what will happen when I apply vacuum to it. It might just puff and fall apart, who knows, but anyway, overall, still looking good. There was something else I wanted to say. This car was big on vacuum. There are miles of vacuum lines in this car, and all the lines that are under the hood, all these here, you can see the split there, they'll all need to be replaced. It's better to replace every one of them that you can find all at the same time, because vacuum leaks can really affect engine performance and all kinds of problems, so better to replace them all at once. So something else I'm doing is I'm taking detailed photos of everything I see under the hood, especially the routing of all these vacuum lines and everything, because there were times in the past, many years ago, when I wasn't so careful about it, and boy, I got lost trying to figure out where the heck to put all these vacuum lines. But so now, a little bit older and wiser, and I take lots of pictures ahead of time. Okay, this will be my end of day report for May 21st. Sorry about the coughing, allergies. So I got enough off the top of the engine to start getting to the insides, and what I found under the valve covers I was not happy about. I was afraid it might come to this. There's quite a bit of corrosion, as you can see right here where the push rods are. It might clean up just fine, I don't know. Once I get the intake manifold off, which I could actually do right now, but it's getting kind of late in the day, so I just need to clean up and save that for tomorrow. But all I got to do is basically just pry that off and lift it out of the way. Then that will expose a valley cover that's under here. The valley cover sits over and protects the interior of the engine where the push rods hit the camshaft. From what I can see here, looking at the exposed portion of the push rod, I'm not hopeful for what I'm going to find when I look at the camshaft and the lifters. Might be pretty extensive corrosion, I don't know. And that also might give me an indication of what it's going to look like inside the cylinders, which I did fill up with transmission fluid and whatnot, so maybe that started working on something, who knows. But, you know, this is all a discovery process, and take whatever comes. Things I did notice, though, that I was actually happy about, and I left the little baggie on the other side, but the little screws that hold the valve covers, or the little bolts that hold the valve covers to the heads, they have these little small little washers underneath the little part that you put the screw into, and that's kind of rare to find that. That tells me these valve covers have probably never been off this engine, because most people, when they see those, they just discard them, don't even bother putting them back on, from what I've seen. So, although with the way the engine looks inside, that's probably a small thing, because there's quite a bit of corrosion here. Obviously the heads are going to have to come off. I mean, I was already planning on it anyway, but they're going to have to be hot tanked, the valves are going to have to be redone, and we'll see how extensive it looks as I continue to burrow inside. Some things I did, just housekeeping. I plugged up the ends of hydraulic lines as best I could. Where I couldn't find a plug, I just used some tape just to keep the elements out, to keep those systems, you know, pristine inside. And also I have taken the time to create baggies that are labeled with the parts that go in them. That's been a lifesaver over the years that I've been doing that. So you can see how I've been labeling and saving my parts, and some stuff goes in the trash can, some stuff goes on the ground here. Obviously it's going to be saved. I was a little disappointed when I took this overflow tank off, because this little brace underneath, whoever had it off before probably had it off to replace the thermostat, I don't know, but they folded this bracket under. This is supposed to be folded out, and a bolt goes through it into the water pump. So somebody just got lazy there, but it's still there, so I should be able to bend it back and when I reassemble the engine someday and put that on properly. This is a 2-port fuel pump, aftermarket. They're not as good as a 3-port pump, so eventually I'll get myself a 3-port fuel pump, because that works better for keeping the fuel cool and avoiding vapor lock. It's important for that reason, and I'm going to be living in Texas where it's very hot, so that's going to be important for me. These heater control valves are still available. You can still get them, so I'll replace that. I'll replace, you know, anything and everything I can as I reassemble, but reassembly is a long way away right now. I think that's really about it. So I was able to, well, you can see the water pump, you can see it's damaged right there. on this inner shaft, and it's frozen. So obviously the water pump's going to be replaced too eventually. All the accessories, you know, are going to be replaced or whatever. So so anyway, I felt like I at least accomplished something, you know, by getting this far on the disassembly. Tomorrow I will remove the intake manifold and the valley cover and see what she looks like where the valve lifters are in the camshaft, and we'll go from there. Thank you.